All right. That looks like a decent little level there. Jesus Christ, I'm pale as fuck. Okay, well, hey everybody, what's going on? We are testing some stuff out here and, you know, just figuring out this little stream deal and seeing, you know, I don't know. Nobody will probably watch this. And that's super cool because I didn't tell anybody. But, yeah, we're just kind of testing some things out. Hello, Jorge. How's it going? So yeah, let's take a look at time stretching on the digitakt, because what I did is somebody sent me a video and they were like, hey, have you seen this? And I was like, no. And then I didn't watch the video. And then like 2 days ago, somebody commented on my some of my time stretching videos, and they were like about the mate, and they were like, it works the same way on the digitakt. And I was kind of like, what, really? Because I feel like I would have figured that out by now. And they were correct. It does work very much the same way, in that you can get a loop to do something like this. Which is kind of like a time stretchy. It's not nearly as precise or like awesome as time stretching, but it's kind of a fun little hack. And if you look here at what we got going on, it also kind of opened up a few other little nifty tricks, I guess you could say. So let's take a look here. Namely the kind of what's it called? Sample trigger step here, where you can go oop. So I'll show you guys how to get that done, but you can kind of like, you know, which is not super useful there, but I kind of started to implement it in other places because I was like, hey, that's still kind of useful. And you can do other sorts of things like this, where you have maybe one of these guys, and you have like a little, oh my gosh, Steph, wow, thank you for a nice little thing there. What a guy. What a champion. Go check out his everything he does. It's amazing and incredible, and he's a super cool guy. Anyways, wow. So yeah, we'll look at kind of those sorts of things. There's a lot of cool little momentary tricks you could you know, start to trigger with these conditional trigs. You know, and you can kind of throw those in wherever you want, whenever the sequence is rolling here, you know. You know, so that's kind of fun too. But anyways, let's go back and take a look at you know, you set up the sample head to be very tiny, and then you kind of shoot it with an LFO to start at the beginning of the sample and very quickly, you know, fly across to the end there. And that's kind of how you represent it. And you can do a very similar type of thing on the digitakt, but there's a few extra steps involved, I guess you could say. And let's just take a look at it from scratch here. So if we go to a brand new, like maybe this one. All right, that's pretty nice. Actually, yeah, that should be perfectly long enough. Okay, so what we got to do here first is set our start point at exactly 60. And this is because the LFO is bipolar. And that means that it goes negative. There we go. Okay. It's just so like with the electron boxes, dialing it in like that is just kind of very, you got to just like ever so hit it ever so gently. So we got to get it at 60 there, because as you can see now that the LFOs are updated and it's nice and it shows us the phase there. It's gonna go into the negative, and we actually want it to start in the negative. So we're gonna trick the system into letting us do that by setting the multiplier to -8 here. All right. And then we're also going to set the BPM multiplier to 8 as well. You can play around with these different values for different resolutions, I guess you could say. But this combination to me is giving me like a really good 16, or I would say 32 steps, so across, 2 bars with a 2-bar loop of resolution. And that works pretty good for me. So that's what I do. Talking real fast, run out of breath. So to recap, we've got sample here. It's a break, right? And we set the start point at 60 because here's where things get a little complicated, and I'm going to put these anchors down right now. So the start point, I'm not going to adjust it because then I'll have to set it back. But that's a 0 to 20 value. 120, 0 to 120, which is interesting because it makes, dividing it up into fourths or, different segments pretty easy because you can go, 30, 60, 90, 120, and then, like 15, 30, 45, 60, so on and so forth. And it divides up pretty nicely. But your LFO, your depth parameter and your phase parameter here are scales of 0 to 127, which is kind of like traditional MIDI scales. So keep that in the back of your mind here, because what we're going to do next is set the depth here to a value of 60. Right? G. We're going to dial that in and make it to 60. Cool. Oh, we missed it. Right. Gotta love this. Okay. So there it is. It's at 60. And then we're going to set our LFO here to the sample start position, right? Okay. So now we've got, this thing doing this. It's not doing a lot. Let's put down some triggers, right? And it's kind of time stretching there, right? Now, we want this first step to be kind of to start the LFO, so we'll put it to trig there. And now it's going to go. And now if we see here, it's playing the first little part of our loop. So this is a 2-bar loop, so we're going to make 2 bars now, and we're just going to remove that. Oh, actually, we want that. That's our first step. We want that to be there. And on this second page here, we're going to just remove that. Okay, so that's time stretch there. So here we go. Let's get back to a nice, better tempo that doesn't stink. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so let's go over a little bit of what's going on here. So it's important to keep the LFO free running, but also to just trigger it on this first step here. So that basically says, whoopsie daisy, I cleared the locks, and that's okay because there was just the one. Boop. Okay, so this is going to start it off, and then the LFO is just going to run freely. So it's just going to update the playhead position, the start position of the sample every step, right? So, and that's nice. That's good. That's cool. That's kind of effectively like hacking time stretching here. So that's pretty nifty. But in the main, what I use the time stretching for is not necessarily time stretching so much as it is cutting the break up, and being able to start at those different LFO retrig values to resample the break, you know? See, this is what we're testing here with the live stream is can I talk and explain what I'm talking about and breathe at the same time, because I do this thing where I forget to breathe. I can't have the AC on because, you know, it's loud. So it's hot in here and I'm not breathing. Anyways, so we want to kind of have that same behavior from the M8 where we can freely chop things here at the beginning. The scales being different and like one being 127 and one being... So that's where things get a little bit weird here, because you got to come from behind on this one. So in the middle, it's not that big of a deal here. You should just start at one that's 64, right? So that should, now we can sample this. And we could see here. Oh, we need to make this so it's not going to work unless you tell it to retrig there. So now it's definitely starting right in the middle. So that's a little bit weird in my opinion if you think about it too much, or you start to think about it a lot like we're going to do here in a second. But yeah, keep that in mind. Boop, boop. This scale is 0 to 127. This scale is 0 to 120. All right, it's in the back of our head. So now we're here, and we've got this guy, and we can sample it, and we know that this is starting right in the middle here, right? So we could, you know, copy this and then, you know, maybe put it right here, and then it's going to sound like this. You know, so there we go. That's kind of like our M8 style, you know, chopping up of things, I guess you could say. But it takes a lot more math here, because let's go ahead and put some anchor points in here. So if we're on the first page and this is going to be 0, what's our one step in gonna be here is where, see, immediately it starts to become kind of a chore, because you got to go backwards here. So 127 minus, it would be 112. Oh, we gotta set it to retrigger. All right, so I cheated and I knew that number from before, and I remembered it, that it was 111 or whatever. So I think that this one is 96 if we're setting up some retrigger points here. Right there. Okay, and now that we've done that, we've got a pretty good handle on some good stuff here. Let's put one, we got this one right, which is in the middle, and that's, let's take a reference, 64. So then this one should theoretically also just be easy to pop in here, and it should be 32, I believe. This is like math that's stupid, and it's MIDI math, and it's electron math, and if you're, oopsie daisy. Oh, I forgot to do it again. Forgot to set retrigger. All right, so okay, so now we got a couple of anchors in there, and now that we've done that, we could theoretically, you know, go around and chop some stuff up. We know that this one is like a snare, right? And we know that this one is kind of like a hi-hat. Okay, so now let's listen to it. Like, all right, so I feel like, you know, this is a hi-hat here. We'll copy that trigger, and maybe we'll put it, you know, right here actually. Paste this here, and we'll paste it here. So now we want the snare, right? Okay, and then this one I want to be that 64. Actually, that doesn't really work, right? But I'll take this and I'll put it back here. And then I'll take this guy and put it right here. All right, okay. So, you know, we can also do things like reverse here, you know. Reverse, and then maybe take that step out. It's not really doing a whole lot because it's going from the end of the loop there. So, you know, we'll have to kind of set the end point. And this is annoying. This should just work. But we'll see. Oh well. See, that's one of the things I'm talking about. I don't know how I was doing that. Hold on a sec here. Let's save this. My project called Junglin. Okay. All right. So I don't know how I was doing that over here. Was this the project? Let's see here. Hold on. Because I could have sworn I had a reverse in here somewhere. One of these blinking ones is reverse. How does this go? Oh, see, look at that. I thought I was being so slick, but it just, when you hit the reverse, it just kind of pops from the end of the sample. So that is rather annoying when you're doing the reverse. I thought that was just working so well on this little tester project that I was figuring this out on. But there you go. That's another annoying little thing about time stretching with the digitakt. For reference, the way that I like to do it, this time stretching thing, at least for breaks, is let's just copy this, right? I can do that. If I click and copy pattern, and then I go here and I paste pattern. Right? Okay. So now I have this pattern here, and I can do this, and this, and this. Go back to 1. Okay. So here we are. All right. So this is, for the record, how I do it. Oh, man. Thank you again. Mansion World. Absolutely incredible. I gotta get you guys some sort of like little animation that like pops off and like it's like a little tachikoma or something like that. Okay. Let's get this break kind of like time stretched how I would do it, which is not really. It's just, again, it's not time stretching at all. It's just pitching things to the proper, bit and then using your ears, right? So, oh, we need to not hear this. Okay, so, oh yeah, we don't need any of these steps either. All right, so let's just maybe have this right here. Cool. I only want a 16-step pattern. Okay, damn it, that already sounds like very close to what it would be. So let's make it much faster. Let's say we want it to be 191, right? Okay, so that is not good, right? So this is a 2-bar loop. So if we go back to thinking about how we were thinking about the other loop, and we know that the length of the loop is 120 units of data, And we can set the start point at anywhere from 0 to 120. Then we can start to know that if get this back at 0, that, you know, this should be right at 15 if we want to have everything kind of like time synced on the BPM kind of grid that we're at, right? So this should be 0, this should be 15, right? So, you know, it's not. And this should be 30 right here. And it is not going to be 30. Guarantee you that. Deep. So you see it's jumping around in there. And what we want to do here is speed this up. And then we're starting to get a little bit closer here. And if we want, we'll turn the metronome on here. That is incredibly quiet for a metronome. Maybe it's just because okay, so then let's open this up. We're getting close, but we're not there yet, see? So we know that this one should be 60. And see, in my opinion, this is a lot more like active of a way of doing this because you're like kind of just listening to it. It needs to be a little bit faster. A little bit faster. A little bit faster. Be 90, I believe. Yeah, see, the math is easy if you do it like this. Oh, but still, you see, locking it in there is just annoying as hell. Elektron, nobody needs this much. This is like a Coke dealer amount of precision here on these digits. No one needs that much, okay? All right, and that's looking pretty good there. It's not jumping around, and we're at 191, right? So now this is only gonna work at 191, but you know what? It's good for us. And now we know also where these like excellent points in this. Excuse me. Thank you. We know where these are. And we could turn this amp up a little bit here. You know, so now we could essentially, you know, so we know where this is 90 plus 90. Sorry, I just had a weird seizure there. 90 plus 15 is going to be 105, I believe here, right? So here's how I like to do things. So now we're at 105, and this should sound like. All right, so now we could replace this right there, right? See? Oh, copy. Oh, and we could put this right here. Oh, I don't need to paste that, right? So. Okay, so then we can paste this here too. And then what we want here is this 15 probably right here. Because I want that snare back. G. Sorry, I'm going down a little rabbit hole here, you guys, you know, just kind of like cutting this break up. But it did remind me right? So this is our time stretched one again here. And I forgot to mention this. Okay, so this does actually afford us some other cool things here, like so we could maybe, you know, like put the filter down, and this is pretty nice because then you get these like really nice sharp quick filter, and that's actually pretty fun and pretty nifty. Sorry guys, I forgot to tell you about this one. You know, this is very nice. I actually like this a lot. And so we could also come in the delay here and do my other favorite thing and just kind of, oh, it's got to be much wider than that. What are you doing? So, you know, we could come in here and then and that just sounds like very nice and alien-y. You know, that's very fun. Everybody likes a little one of these, right? And then I'm kind of scared to hit the reload pattern button because I don't know. But you know what you could also do here is you could just like, you know, get this going here and then just turn the filter off. And then, you know, you're back and you could turn it back on. So you could actually save the pattern as this on your temp area and then, you know, get a little weirdness in here. And that's kind of fun, you know? So that's kind of another little thing if you want that amount of flexibility when you're, sorry, my green screen keeps doing that, you know? It's just like I've got to lean it up against me. Listen, guys, I'm a professional here, okay? You hear that? So, that's a fun little thing if you want to set up this time stretching thing on there. You get that added bonus of, you know, being able to use these little envelopes there, and you know, that's pretty fun. So it's just another flavor of doing it. I think that it's a pretty cool way to do it. And if you don't want to, you know, dial in your tuning, or you just really like being able to like mess around with your tempo a lot, because that is a fun performance trick too, then, you know, cool, do it up. But let's see here. Another thing I wanted to shout out was, I believe it's right here on this track. There is a very good, oh, nope. There's a very nice way to get that sort of like sucking down record stop sort of move here. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. So this was inspired by the time stretching move that we just did, because I was like, well, if you can time stretch that way, well, why not just do some other stuff that sort of way? So what we've got here is a conditional trig, and maybe we just kind of hit play here and you can hear it in action. But we've got this conditional trig, and it's starting at saw, and it's just going down ever so a little bit. The phase is set so that, maybe I can zoom in here. How's that look? Oh, looking good. Okay. So, what did I hit? I need you to be on sample tune. Right, okay, so, we've got this saw wave going downward here, you know, and, about 5 semitones or so, because it's going to our sample tune there. And, it's being re-triggered, and the BPM is set to 2 with a multiplier here, because Elektron, for some strange reason, this speed being on a 64, so 48 being normal, kind of, I don't even think it is. It's the weirdest thing. but then having this multiplier here, it really messes you up. So just make sure anytime you're doing complex LFOing on an electron device, make sure you're listening to what's going on. Function and holding this trigger, or this encoder, excuse me. This will greatly, I don't know where they choose that your function gets you, you know, like units of measurement like this, because it sure as fuck doesn't work on the depth down here. You see, I would really love that sort of stepped resolution there. Also, you know, stuff like tune, they give you 12, 24. Yeah, bro, why? Why is this one get the good treatment? I don't know. So, anyways, back to it. Oops. Did we just kind of freeze it? Okay, here we go. So, yeah, that's the story. Sorry, we got kind of distracted there yelling at Electron. But you know what, Electron? I love you. But I'm going to tell you sometimes that, what are you doing? Give me the steps on the individual thingy-patingies. And yeah. So here we go. Here's our slowdown, you know. There's our ramp. Choo. Go to 2, we go to 1. But it's going to shoot back up there at the end, because there's no way to just truly make it, you know, just truly. It stinks. It's got to be at 64, you know. There's no just like true downward ramp wave, or you can't just like rectify down. I think there's a rectify up, isn't there? Is that? I think it's the other way. Yeah, it's just positive. Focus, it's harder than it looks. That looks very good. See on the footage. You know, on the way out, how everything looks. Let's listen to some of these other breaks. I'm almost done with the little digitakt break thing, and it'll be fun times. Love my analog keys. Oh, dude, you gotta get. Oh man, I've been plugging this thing into the Syntakt and using the drive on that thing and the analog filter. Ooh, buddy, it's making me want an analog heat, because Jesus, just the stereo filter alone is like, just it's a lot, because I've also been doing a lot more stuff with the panning here, which is very fun. You know, everybody kind of like hates on the digitakt for having dual mono output, but the reverb stereo, and you can pan shit all over the place. And the delay is stereo too, so you put this thing on ping pong mode, and it's just fun on a bun here. Okay, let's see, which ones of these are good? Which ones of these are just kick drums? This one is exactly what I'm talking about here. Here, let's reveal all my cool tricks. As long as we're just sitting here on stream giving away all my tricks. So when you've got a bass line like this that's big and fat and gross, you know what you gotta do is you gotta filter it a little bit. Just a little bit. And then you gotta turn up this bit rate reduction. And right at about like 1, you hear that? It just gets gross as fuck. And it's just nasty, man. But yeah, you put something like this into the analog heat or the Syntakt little drive there. It just like chews on it, and it really brings it to life. The digitakt can be a little bit, see, this is nice and fat and delicious, but it can still sound a little bit digital, you know what I mean? The compressor does a little bit to kind of like try and warm it up, but yeah. Anyways, that's still kind of a little bit. Can't remember what I did here. There's some sort of, I think, LFO action going on that bass line too, but I can't remember what it is. And that's that trick that, you watch Derek Basek play much, and you'll notice he does this thing all the time on his Electron boxes, and I was like, how are you doing that? What are you doing? And I realized he's playing loops, and if you're doing loops and you hit stop like this, you get kind of like a second there where you can kind of like re-trigger stuff. And you can kind of restart things, and if you're doing it good on time, you kind of get this like, this is too fast for me to be trying to do this, but yeah, here's a fun little break. I think I got another gross one down here. And then you can do that as well. If you had these level match, that would be a lot cooler, so you can kind of like stop a track and be like, here, where was that other one? Where's this terrible Hoover coming from? Gosh, this project is full of mysteries and fun. Well, okay, everybody, there you go. That was my show and tell for today. What are we at? 45 minutes here. Okay, cool. I talked fast. I got sweaty. It's hot as hell up in here. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. I'm looking at the chat, and there's a lot more people in here than I thought would be in here. So thanks, everybody. We'll definitely do this again, and I'll be organized, and I'll have some more things to talk about. But yeah, I got a lot more tricks on the digitakt to flesh out. So yeah, have fun, and everybody say thank you to Jorb and Steph and Imagined World and everybody else. Thank you so much. We'll see you again real soon.